the difference, Dick.
Roddick himself, the junior champion 2000 here in Australia. And he opens the match. Less than 1 million people on the island of Cyprus, some 500 miles to the southeast of Athens. And he was the man of the year at 19 in his country in 2005, if not only athlete of the year, but man of the year. And Roddick would like to be the man once again, number 2 behind Roger Federer in the seeding of this championship. Worked on his fitness, motivated by his first-round loss in the U.S. Open. He feels he's in better shape this year than ever, and he starts with a love game.
Well, when you look back, Dick, at Roddick's career, and obviously we don't know what's going to happen in the next 5-7 years, I think we may look at that U.S. Open loss as maybe a blessing in disguise for Roddick, because it was a very tough loss for him to take, but he used it as a positive. He went back to work. He worked extremely hard in the offseason. And I think with that match, not only did Roddick work incredibly hard, he's done that throughout his career, but he realized that he was playing too defensively on the return, that he wasn't attacking the ball the way he wants to when he plays his best tennis, really looking to dictate with the forehand. And we've seen that from Roddick. He said that coming into this tournament. He wanted to do that. And boy, he's been playing with a little more intensity, a little more vigor in the way he's hitting his shots.
Baghdatis looking for his first point. He enjoys being in Melbourne, not only because of the Greek support, largest Greek population outside of Athens and a major city in the world.
15 all.
And there's that forehand, 15 all. And we're going to hear from those young men all afternoon. Lima Sol in Cyprus, only 20. There's his 2005 record. He had some good wins. He beat David Nalbandian.
That was in Basel, Dick. That was sort of his breakout tournament on the main tour. He played quite a few challengers where he got his ranking up. Got to the final in Basel, which is an indoor event just after the U.S. Open. He lost a very tough 4-set match to Fernando Gonzalez in Chile in the championship match. Good approach here by Roddick. Good depth, and unlucky there with the net court from Baghdatis. Roddick scooting over to try to hit that big forehand return. He was there in plenty of time. Baghdatis very quick around the court. And he just ran right through that ball. And he's got to be awful careful because Roddick is such a tough front runner. He can get up an early break, get on top of the youngster in a hurry.
That's part of the Roddick fan club. The only play on this very hot Sunday in Melbourne in the 2 roof courts. This one, Rod Laver, and the other main show court, Vodafone. All outside courts action suspended.
Well, there's the shot that Brad Gilbert was talking about from Baghdatis. That backhand down the line. He can take it early. And he's got very good disguise with that shot. Roddick has just looked so sharp the opening week. I get the feeling, Dick, that this sort of second week is now when the tournament really starts for Roddick. I mean, he's gotten through the 3 rounds so easily. That's a good power hitting there from Andy.
Roddick sacrificing only 1 break in his first 3 matches, all conducted in less than 2 hours, so he's not been pushed physically.
I think it's safe to say, Dick, that he's in the best shape of his career. I mean, he's consistently put the work in, but he really took it to another level this past off season.
And a break point for Roddick.
Spending a lot of time, Roddick, on the track. As you see his results, Lammer, the qualifier from Switzerland, Wesley Moody, the big server, went out tamely, and Beneteau, that was just a total mismatch. 1, 2, and 2 against the French qualifier. A lot of time for Roddick on the track in the gym, getting the legs stronger. You know, I've seen his movement. It looks, I mean, very strong here.
Good movement there, but Baghdatis saves the breaker.
That was a forehand that set it up for Baghdatis, and then he steps in, open court for the backhand.
First ever from his island country to make it into the top 100 in this sport. He didn't want to play tennis as a kid. He was more interested in soccer, but his dad insisted. He didn't give him a choice. You're going to be a tennis player. And he said, why, Dad? He said, because I love tennis. Nice forehand placement. They're organized, aren't they?
And they got their chance down. Baghdatis even gave him a little bit of schooling, because in his match with Stepanek, won 5 sets in the second round. They were getting on player from the Czech Republic a little bit. And Baghdatis said, no, just keep it sane here. Don't get rude out there. He told the fans. Likes it, of course, loves the support and likes the atmosphere it generates, but didn't want it to get personal.
Beat American Gimelstob, then the 17th seed, Stepanek, and Gremmelmeyer, who had an impact on the American hopes. Robbie Ginepri went out after leading by 2 sets and a break in the third.
Yeah, that was a disappointing result for Ginepri. Gremmelmeyer got beat up by Baghdatis in round 3. Roddick with his second ace.
Does it help or hinder Roddick that the roof is closed?
I don't think it matters much for him, Dick, because his serve is so big. Where I think it may affect it is on the kick serve, because when it's very hot, the court gets even quicker, it gets stickier, so the ball usually bounces a bit more. So if anything, it's probably a little more helpful for Baghdatis. He may be able to get a little more of a look on the second serve, as you see that tractable roof shut. Just extreme heat today.
Temperature expected to reach 110 degrees, as the natives say. It's dry heat, however, and it isn't humid, thank goodness. But it is walking into a furnace when you leave the air-conditioned luxury of a car or your hotel room. Another love game for Roddick. 8 straight points, one on his own serve. Andy Roddick coasting through his 2 service games. Had a break chance against Baghdatis, who denied. It's 2-1. And let's meet this charismatic Cypriot.
Hey, I'm Marcus Baghdatis. I'm from Australia. I'm from Cyprus. I'm 20 years old and I have the biggest fan club here in Australia. I think they're from Melbourne and they've been great throughout the years I've playing here. I never played Andy Roddick before and I'm looking forward to play him, and I'll try to find a solution in the court. I just love it here. I mean, I played juniors here, I won it here. Yeah, I love this game. I played it for like 15 years already, so I just love it.
At the age of 20, he did start just before his 5th birthday and has trained in Paris for the last 5-6 years. Left home at age 14.
For a while, Dick, he worked with Bob Brett, if you remember, the great Australian coach who worked with Becker when Becker was #1. He worked with Ivan Isevic, and now he's got his own academy. Had it outside Paris. I believe it's moved now. And so he worked with Baghdatis for a couple of years. But if anybody remembers, Bob Brett is very strict. He's sort of out of that Harry Hopman school, sort of a disciplinarian. And he and Baghdatis, as you see from his, the highlights you show me, is sort of a free spirit. So they split because Baghdatis wanted, a little more freedom and wasn't into that sort of strict routine. And that split really affected Marcos. Because when you mentioned that when we saw him come out and play that great match with Federer,
right?
He sort of disappeared for about a year. And I think that split from Brett affected him, but he's obviously now, finding his way up the rankings. Oh, yes.
Big forehand to 30-15.
The reason I compared him to Nalbandian a bit, Dick, is because of shots like this, using his opponent's pace against him. He's got excellent timing, great counter puncher, stands right on the baseline.
Quick to the ball. And logs his first ace. His record here in Melbourne Park is 15-1 when you count his junior championship. Came here as a qualifier last year, won 3 matches, and then all the way to the round of 16. Lost to Federer then. And he holds. It's 2-all. The country of Cyprus is divided, the north occupied by the Turks and the Greeks in the south, where Baghdatis resides. 780,000 plus population. Not a lot of tennis played on the island, seriously.
No.
But now that Baghdatis has become a national hero at age 20, he'll inspire others to follow.
Baghdatis still spends a lot of time in Paris, Dick. He actually has a place there, and he lived for about 5 years with a French family while he was training at the academy. And he says he still spends some weekends there, even though he has his own place now.
Roddick has promised that he's going to do more of that this year. Advance to the net behind his big serve. We'll see if that actually plays out.
Or maybe behind his big forehand, more to the point, Dick. I have so many people come up to me and say, well, why doesn't Roddick serve and volley more? I said, well, that's not his game. His game is to serve and hit a big forehand. You can't turn someone into a serve and volley, nor should you. And this man, of course, Dean Goldfein, is coach now for the second year. Roddick's power game is very similar to the game that Jim Courier played. Built around the serve and the forehand. Roddick's got a bigger serve.
And there is one of those big serves. Baghdatis thought it sounded out. 132 miles per hour. Back live in the Australian Big House, Laver, and a reminder tonight, live in the morning, 3:30 a.m., 12:30. After midnight on the West Coast, Maria Sharapova, the 4th seed, and Danielle Hentukova. Hentukova, who defeated Serena Williams to advance.
See some long limbs flying in that match between Sharapova and Hentukova.
Yeah, that's lanky squared.
Yeah.
Baghdatis, 2-3, opening set. And the longest rally of the match goes to Baghdatis.
Yeah, Baghdatis really moves the ball around well. And Roddick just trying to do that with him, and you may want to rethink that strategy because Baghdatis, that way he cuts the court off, moving inside the court, plenty of room for the winner up the line. That's his 7th winner, the Cypriot. Make that number 8.
Second ace. Fan of Patrick Rafter, and of course that pleases the Aussie fans when they hear that Baghdatis modeled himself after the superstar of just a few years ago, Rafter. Rafter, of course, will be inducted into the International Tennis Hall of Fame, Newport, Rhode Island, this summer. And Baghdatis said, I just liked the way he played as if it was always fun and was such a good sport.
Very charismatic, he said. And Baghdatis likes to show his emotion, get the crowd into it, but in a positive way.
Yes, you like him immediately. I mean,
Roddick just sort of noted to his camp after that last point, Dick, that we should start attacking Baghdatis' backhand a bit more. Cypriot is pretty solid off both wings. I think you really have to kind of overpower him, get him out of position.
he does this little routine before the serve, bouncing the ball between his legs. A basketball player using that dribble. 40-30. You watch him here as he'll bounce the ball behind him and then back forward through his right through his legs. There you go. Got to try that at home. And a good serve. 3-all. Because of the extreme heat conditions, all the outside courts play suspended. So you see Rod Laver Arena and the other closed roof Vodafone seats 10,000, and that will be it today.
Yesterday, Dick, they were able to restart the matches at about 6:30 p.m. I mean, that's how hot it was yesterday. It's even hotter today. Apparently, they're going to reevaluate the situation about 4 o'clock local time. It's now just after 2:30 p.m. local time here in Melbourne.
Roddick yet to give up a service point in this opening set. There's the first. And the miss hit.
Love 15.
Roddick has not lost a point. Obviously, as you said, Dick, until that one, and a lot of that is as he's gotten so many first serves in, 77%.
10 for 10 on that first ball, winning the point.
That's
good.
And see, there's an example there, Dick, of what I was talking about earlier. If we were playing outside, this second serve would be jumping a lot more. It would be kicking more. But Baghdatis was able to get a good look at it, step in, and beautifully control the return up the line for the winner.
First opening for the young Cypriot. Love 30.
First up.
No Australians left in the men's side. Leighton Hewitt going out in the second round.
All the attention now on Sam Stosur, who won last night. Ladies side, she's in the round of 16.
She'll take on Martina Hingis next.
30.
Roddick making that. It's nice when you can know what adjustment to make and go for that bigger second serve. And Roddick nailed that second serve right in the corner and got the error. Has that ability, excuse me, Dick, he has that ability to up the ante on the serve when he needs to.
Fastest ever for Roddick, 155 miles per hour. And his fastest today, 139.
This is a rough serve on this surface because it slides away, and this court really takes the spin of the ball. That nasty slice sliding away from the returner.
And another rally with Baghdatis walking away with a point. Tight start, 3-all deuce. Opening up the court with that sharp backhand.
Well, he's smart, this kid. He read the serve from Roddick. He stayed back behind the baseline, got him in the rally, and then again keeping Roddick pinned way behind the baseline and finishing up in the middle of the court.
His first break point. And the break to Baghdatis, the Cypriot, to the delight of his faithful, has the lead 4-3. Welcome back live, Rod Laver Arena. And Brad Gilbert tipped us off on Marcus Baghdatis. He's got a solid ground game. He's worked the ball well against Roddick and surprisingly has returned very well and now has earned the lead 4-3 opening set. And that was his fastest serve, 125.
Again, Baghdatis just stalking the baseline. And he's taking time away from Roddick in these rallies. And the winners he's hitting are percentage shots. He's not taking big swings at the ball. He's setting it up beautifully.
49.
And spices it with another ace, his third.
12-6 in the winner department for Baghdatis. Got some major momentum right now.
He's thrown a haymaker early on the number 2 seed.
14-15.
Roddick prevailing in a long rally for the first time. And the oval rule by Fergus Murphy, the Irish umpire.
40-30.
Replay the point at 40-30.
Roddick doesn't like the call, but I think he probably agrees with it. Otherwise, he'd be a lot more ticked off. Chance to get back to deuce here.
Quickly swiped away as Baghdatis builds his lead to 5-3.
Baghdatis leads 5 games.
Dick Enberg with Davis Cup captain Patrick McEnroe at Rod Laver Arena. 15,000. Most of the fans Australian, and they just have to decide for whom they want to cheer. The polite in their reaction thus far, but the noise comes from a handful of Australian Greeks in support of the Greek Cypriot Marcos Baghdatis at age 20, showing fans that he's got a solid game. Roddick displaying his quickness. And he was on that drop shot in a hurry.
Well, Roddick's going to need to make some slight adjustments here, Dick, when they get into the rallies. Try to get up a little closer to the baseline. As Baghdatis is winning the battle of court positioning so far. Well, he's starting to feel it. A couple of aces in the last game, and he just rocketed back that serve for a clean winner.
133 mile an hour serve.
That's some timing there.
Dictating on that point.
Good angle here from Roddick. Opens up the court, and then he steps in and attacks that short ball.
Baghdatis a rabbit.
40-50.
Number 5.
He's quick, Baghdatis, but you know he could tire. He did have trouble in his second round match against Stepanek in that 5-set win. He suffered stomach cramps. Was able to get it back together in the 5th set. But Roddick's got to make him work. He's got to make him move and land those body blows so they can pay off later.
Quick hands. 5-4. The along the banks of the Yarra River here in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. River that's upside down, the locals say. The mud is on the top. As you can see in the foreground, the Yarra River borders the complex, Melbourne Park, 106 degrees, and the mercury exploding on this Sunday in the southeast of the land down under, equivalent to late July in the States.
The good news is, Dick, that the cool change supposedly is coming, I think, early this evening. And they say it could drop about 15 degrees centigrade. So that's probably about 35, 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Maybe 30.
Well, that will be welcome news for all, especially the players left in the draw. And the heat, although we're protected from that hot sun today, the heat from Marcos Baghdatis is being felt by Roddick. 3 points from the set, the young man serving.
Very impressive display so far from Baghdatis.
How about that forehand?
That's just excellent counter punching as Roddick attacks this ball, puts maybe a little too much air under it. Baghdatis had enough time to roll that for the winner.
Roddick has had just one break point against Baghdatis in the set. That was in the first service game for the Cypriot. Denied, and then Baghdatis breaks Roddick at 3-all.
And Baghdatis has been cruising on his serve in the last couple of games.
Well, you saw his introduction in that video piece. He said, "I'm Marcos Baghdatis from from Cyprus," and he does feel at home here. Obviously, 21 cousins, many uncles. His dad is Lebanese and moved to Cyprus when he married a native of that island.
Oh, yeah.
2 set points with that volley.
Showing excellent technique at the net there. Scooting in.
14-15.
Not much of a challenge from Roddick. Put it right back on his racket. Oh, he had it lined up and the court was open.
14-17.
Another set point. The 54th ranked player in the world has just taken the opening set off the number 2 ranked player, Andy Roddick.
Live in Melbourne, Australia, Marcos Baghdatis unable to get a point in the first 3 service games of Roddick, but then cashes in the only break point of the set he gets, and Roddick finds himself in a 1-set hole. Brad, this is not the game plan that Andy Roddick talked about for 2006, more aggression.
Oh, he's definitely playing tentative, and he tends to leave the backhand down the line open because he likes to run around the backhand on the forehand side of the court. but which left that side vulnerable, and Baghdatis is making him pay. Anytime he has a chance, right there, he takes that return early, backhand up the line. Even if he's missing, he's got him thinking that the backhand outline is coming.
And for Roddick, the ground strokes don't appear to have a lot of sting, even on the forehand side. We saw it in that last game of the set.
The thing that's surprising me most about the Roddick playing right now is he has got chances on the second serve to really crack the ball. And that's what he's talking about, aggression. He's running around the return and pushing the ball. He's letting in Baghdatis get in the first cut. And that's not a good thing right now for Roddick.
And the belief growing for Baghdatis is the first set Roddick's dropped in this tournament. In Grand Slam tournaments in his history, he is 7-10 when dropping the first set. Simultaneous to this match over in the Vodafone Arena, David Nalbandian and Tommy Robredo, who took out James Blake in straight sets. And Nalbandian, the fourth seed, 6-3 over Robredo.
The hair and the tortoise, that's Nalbandian, the tortoise. No problem for him today. This is a similar style game, but I go with Nalbandian. Too much game. I like the way he's playing, and you want to see a great ball striker, it's David Nalbandian.
Roddick to serve to begin set number 2, back inside to Dick and Patrick.
All right, mates, it's 15-all here as Roddick starts the second set. And just a footnote on Nalbandian, remember, he beat Federer in 5 to win the Masters Cup in Shanghai. So you look for somebody to challenge the number 1, Federer, and Nalbandian has shown in his career that he can stand up to the talented Swiss.
Nalbandian in the same half of the draw as Andy Roddick, so they were seeded to play each other in the semifinals, but Roddick's got his hands full here.
Well, as the Davis Cup captain, you have the luxury of being able to coach during a match. If he were sitting next to you, how would you tell Roddick to change?
Well, there's a nice start to mix up a little bit of serve and volley. I think Brad made an excellent point there. Andy's, it's good to run around and hit your bigger shot, your forehand, but you've got to hit it. You got to make something happen, because what you're doing is, if you're just rolling it back, you're giving up a lot of territory, and that's where he's getting burned up the line.
Boy, the kid, though, is really reading Roddick's first serve.
He's picking it up very quickly. Roddick's coach, Dean Goldfein.
Game, Roddick.
Number 6 for Roddick to open this second set.
First game, second set.
Yeah, the Australian Open starting the 2006 Grand Slam season. The last one was, of course, back in September, the U.S. Open, and what a jolt for American fans and for Roddick in the very first round.
Yeah, Gilles Muller of Luxembourg, the big lefty. You know, it was a similar sort of match in that he was dictating the points from the back of the court. He was a little more aggressive. 3 tie breaks, and Roddick was out of the tournament that he won 2 years before that.
Melbourne, Australia, the 2006 Open. Marcos Baghdatis, the 20-year-old Cypriot. Early electricity for his fan club. Big Greek population in this city, as he has taken the opening set from the number 2 player in the world, or number 2 seed, Andy Roddick. Roddick holding here to start the second set. Roddick with only 1 chance to break Baghdatis in that first set, and that was in the first service game of this young man.
The thing I would suggest to Andy Roddick is to do what he said he wants to do at the beginning of the year. Be aggressive. Take some cuts at the ball. Play what he likes to call Andy Roddick tennis when he plays his best, is pound the ball. Not try to. He's not going to outwork this guy. He's not going to outmaneuver Baghdatis. He's got to use the extra power that he has.
But doesn't seem to have his usual life in that forehand.
First time Roddick's pulled out his backhand down the line, and that helped him win that point. Good numbers, especially from Baghdatis, with 18 winners versus 11 for Andy Roddick.
And a break point here for Roddick.
Roddick moving around to hit the forehand. He did something with it there. If he gets another second serve here, and he looks to move around, you want to see him try to do the same thing. Attack with the forehand.
He gets the second serve, and he said he was going to come in tighter on the baseline, but he hasn't. Now here he does. Takes a step forward. With a couple of shouts, fist pump as he's broken Baghdatis for the early advantage in the second set.
And of course, with the roof closed, Dick, it's still extremely humid in there, and you can see how much the players are sweating. So hydrating themselves before the match, during the match, very important. And just what Roddick needed is to get some momentum going, an early break.
And starts with his 7th ace. Man who led the tour and aces for the calendar year the last 2 seasons. As has been well documented, this surface not as quick as that at the U.S. Open. Don't figure to get as many aces. And that is his first double. He's remarkably solid in that regard, isn't he? He doesn't double fault.
No. And usually his percentage of first serves put in play is very high. He's at 67 today so far. And Baghdatis again reading the serve.
15 seconds.
The man who had quite a scare, his career as a player threatened by a congenital condition in his right arm that was affecting his nerve.
Wow, that is unbelievable. Monster serve from Roddick down the middle. Baghdatis gets it back. And when Baghdatis has that little bit of time, he is tough with the passing shots.
2 chances to break back. So he had surgery early in 2005. It was out for a couple of months, and obviously everything has been corrected. Smart volley from Roddick erases 1 break point. It's a nice friend to have, that big serve. He's out of 1540.
136 miles per hour, that last one.
Thank you.
Another break point.
That's the kind of 1-2 punch that makes Roddick comfortable, and that's when he wants to be coming in, Dick. Not necessarily serving and following the serve right into net, but serve, big forehand, and then come in. He's never going to be a Stefan Edberg type player, you know, where it's relying on the serve and volley.
Baghdatis unhappy with that play. Gives Roddick a game point for 3-love.
This could turn into a very physical match. Tough points, tough games. That should favor Andy Roddick. Oh. And Baghdatis is stepping in. What a clean return. Again, it's the backhand up the line. It's the 5th backhand winner for Baghdatis, and if memory serves me right, 4 of them have been up the line.
First serve off for Roddick in this game. Battled out of 3 break points. And now another game point.
Advantage, Roddick.
And he slices the ace, his 8th, and owns a 3-love lead in the second. Baghdatis won the opening set. One of the picturesque scenes along the coast, the Great Ocean Road, southwest Victoria, not far from this wonderful city of Melbourne. And welcome back, Andy Roddick. A good save in that last game. 3 break points against, holds for the 3-love lead. Winner will meet the round of 16 match between Lubicic and Johansson.
Be one of the night matches, Melbourne time, later this evening here. And we'll be showing you the matchup between Sharapova and Hantuchova in the women's 4th round.
That'll be 3:30 in the morning live, 12:30 on the Pacific Coast.
Johansson. Lubicic reaching the 4th round of a major for the first time in his career. That'll be a tight matchup there. Robredo, Nalbandian, we showed you the Argentine winning the first set there. And Santoro, the magician, the veteran Frenchman against David Ferrer from Spain.
Santoro is so much fun to watch. It delivers some shot making not seen on the tour.
I think Baghdatis is feeling the physicality of the Roddick game now. He just looks a little flat. His footwork is not as crisp, and he's made quite a few more unforced errors here in the last couple of games. 5 errors for Baghdatis in this set, only 3 for Roddick so far.
Roddick not happy about that return. Girlfriend Petra of Marcos Baghdatis, former tennis player herself, junior champion.
Coach there, Guillaume Payne from France.
laser forehand, and Coach Pear appreciates that. Back to 30 all.
30 all.
Boy, Baghdatis again using the up the line shot as Roddick a little bit flat-footed, looking to cover that.
First up.
You knew it was going to go right back to that backhand corner. Tried for a little too much. Little Sunday snooze here at Rod Laver.
First up.
Roddick with another break opportunity to take a double break lead here in the second. Quickly, the ace denies his fifth. Two former Australian Open junior champs, Baghdatis in 2003. Roddick won it here in 2000. Sometimes a barometer for professional success. Donald Young, 16, won it last year here.
Gael Monfils, the Frenchman, who has had a great year last year, went out early here. Baghdatis with another ace to save a break point.
Able to come up with the goods on the two break points. Aces each time. Yeah, almost another. Good effort by Roddick, but court left wide open.
Baghdatis with the drop shot. Roddick probably kicking himself for not taking that up the line, because he went like that. Has barely had a move. Pretty easy passing shot for him.
Well, Roddick saved 3 break points in the last game, and now Baghdatis has taken care of 2 in his service game.
Well, the good news for Roddick, Dick, is that in this game, a couple of these points, it's been Roddick that's been on top of the baseline, and Baghdatis is the guy way behind the baseline. And that's when I really feel that Roddick is at his best, when he's looking to take the court away, to use that forehand. He's done all that work on his quickness and his speed, and that's where he can use that. And because to play right on the baseline, Dick, you need excellent sort of explosive little moves. And Roddick hasn't always had that confidence in his ability, and that's why he sort of has a tendency to retreat way behind the baseline. He thinks it gives him more time. what it does is it gives his opponents actually more confidence and gets him in trouble.
It's long, and Roddick with the break of service leads 4-low. So back-to-back breaks by Roddick.
Roddick leads 4 games to none.
Again, the roof closed today. Severe heat conditions. Play only on Vodafone, the 10,000-seat arena that also has the roof, and here at Rod Laver Arena. No play outside thus far. Our action live. The Bryan twins won earlier today.
Straight sets are into the quarterfinals now.
Sandy Roddick, Bryans, and others. Blake, Ginepri on their way to La Jolla, California for the tie with Romania in a couple of weeks.
That's right. Just about 12 days after this event ends, all the opening round Davis Cup matches will take place. A lot of talk down here in Australia about the Australia-Switzerland match. Both Federer and Hewitt have not decided whether they're going to play or not. That's where Roddick's really effective, Dick, and he's starting to open up now.
15.
Not much work for the ball kids today with the outer courts shut down because of the heat. They get to watch a little extra tennis.
That's nice. Invited indoors and placed off in the corners. Well, credit Baghdatis with his hustle. Earned that point.
15.
Like Roddick just took his eye off that ball at the last second. That's a nice changeup from Roddick there, Dick. Serving and volleying, taking something off the first serve, surprising his opponent. That, in and of itself, just the mix-up gets in the opponent's head. What's he going to do? Maybe he's going to change it up. As Baghdatis has done a nice job of picking up the Roddick serve.
Point now for a 5-love Roddick lead. And the hold. So Roddick a game away from scoring the match at a set-all.
The intensity of a champion, the skill of an artist, the competition, the power, the precision. The greatest dramas in tennis unfold. The Australian Open, the French Open, the championships at Wimbledon. The best players, the world's biggest stages. ESPN2, the Grand Slam Network. The Australian Open, now playing.
That's live. Early this morning, 3:30 in the east, 12:30 in the west, and as we enjoyed dinner with your father, J.P. McEnroe, and enjoyed a glass of red, I heard you say nice legs. Well, that's what we're going to have tonight.
Yeah, well, plenty of
here
those.
at Rod Laver.
Nice ball striking, too.
Roddick 3 points from the set. There's Papa McEnroe.
Yeah, he's making his first trip down here to see this tournament.
Now I'll tell the rest of the
Always
story.
talkative.
You were nice enough to invite your father down here and be your guest for a couple of weeks, and it's nice to see Papa and son have such a good time.
Yeah, it's nice for him to get to this tournament.
Lucky to still have your dad, enjoying every minute with him.
It's nice to I can get corrected on my grammar a lot.
I noticed
Dick,
that,
so,
too.
you know, be careful, too. You better be careful.
Said he could beat John Jr. until Mac was 10 years of
10,
age.
or John started at 9, so it took him about a year. By the way, my dad never played tennis until that time. The first time he ever played was to play with John when John was about 9 years old. But he's a big handball player when he was in the Air Force. So that's where he says, you know, John got his hand-eye coordination because my dad was a good handball player. I said, okay, Dad, whatever you say.
And there's 2 set points for Roddick.
30 all.
I'll take that 30 all. Correction. 2 points from the set. What a pickup.
Oh,
And a point. Baghdatis.
he's got some hands, doesn't he? He's like Federer-like with that forehand. And he picked up this return from Roddick, which is right off the line, just flicked at it. Beautifully controlled.
Not that time.
That's what you like to see, Dick, from Roddick. A little more aggressive return. Roddick inside the baseline, taking that two-hander.
Good to have that attitude fortified with some success. Baghdatis, he's right with Roddick in the ace department. 8 for Andy and 7 for him. Trying to avoid the bagel here in the second set.
Oh,
Another pickup.
Kid's got some game.
Roddick leads.
Roddick will try to serve it out here with a 2-break lead, 5-1. First time they've met. Andy has scouted his opponent. You heard earlier, in his last match already, some of the Baghdatis fans had meandered over to his match and were gently riding him, letting him know that their man Baghdatis was in waiting. Just as Lupicic or Johansson playing tonight will meet the winner of this. Quarterfinals.
Love 15.
Broken once in his opening round match. It's Michael Lammer. He was already up a couple of breaks in that set. Sort of a throwaway game, but the one time he was broken here cost him the first set. That's an excellent serve. Yeah, he's very smart because Baghdatis has been looking for that one out wide to the backhand and it's hit a couple winners. And Roddick that time went right into the body. And when you got this kind of heat and action on the serve, particularly when a player is looking to move forward, Dick, that's a great serve to hit. Less time for the returner to get away from the ball if they're crowding the baseline. You go with that body blow.
Baghdatis gets a short ball. He takes advantage.
15 seconds.
If it fall in the net, that'd be a start.
And the double fault after it chastised himself. Second double fault from Roddick. And it gives Baghdatis a couple of break points. Andy with the luxury of being up a double break.
30.
And the luxury of having that weaponry. Ace number 9.
Just behind Dean Goldfine there in the box is Andy's brother, John. His older brother. He's down here working with some of the junior players. Had his own. There's John there. The shades on his hat. He has an academy down in Texas. Or
San Antonio.
Yep.
He was an All-America player at the University of Georgia.
Very good player. In fact, he spent some time with Andy while Andy was training in Hawaii on his way here to Australia. Andy put about a week of hard work on the court. First time I saw his brother earlier today, or it was yesterday, and lost about 20 pounds. I said, "Yeah, you look good, John." Well, I spent some time training with Andy. I said, "Well, that'll take a few lbs off in a hurry."
Yeah, works both ways. It's a let. Roddick now at set point. And now owns the second set. 6-1. They'll play best 2 of 3 for the round of 16 to the quarterfinals.
Grip and rip.
This is starting to feel a little bit like a practice set for Andy.
He's really feeling the confidence.
This is almost Roger-esque.
And I think you're going to see him deep in this tournament before it's all said and done.
Back live has been all indoor tennis today. Lindsay Davenport, a problem with her ankle. She'll have ultrasound later today. She blames these sticky courts, but she survives in 2 sets against Svetlana Kuznetsova. Justine Arden is up next for Lindsay in the quarterfinals. Anna Arden passed Rana Pasquale in 2 easy sets over on the Vodafone Arena. Featured match on the women's side tonight is Maria Sharapova, Daniela Hantuchova, who earlier had knocked out Serena. Battle of Blondes, a leggy affair inside Rod Laver Arena. Of course, we'll have that match for you. Talked about the heat. Inside, Andy Roddick turning up the heat just a little bit on Marcos Baghdatis. Baghdatis had 5 break points, Brad, in that set. Roddick some clutch serving, and you say drastic improvement in Andy's game plan, and maybe Baghdatis getting away from his game plan.
You know, one thing as a coach you hate, when a player's got a winning hand, he changes it. Baghdatis was hurting Roddick a lot in the first set with a backhand down the line. I counted at least 15 attempts in the first set. The second set, 0 attempts. He had a lot of attempts to hit the backhand down the line, and he plays very conservative, and then Roddick starts dictating play, hence a big problem, 6-1 for Roddick.
Here's an example of what you're talking about right here.
Right here, he has an opportunity early in the point to hit the backhand down the line, and he chooses to play down the middle and gives Roddick a big look at the forehand. Big mistake.
And Roddick beginning to be a lot more authoritative, it seems, with those returns. A lot of them landing right at the feet of Baghdatis, giving him trouble.
Yeah, as Andy got the first break in, he started to loosen up and take a lot more chances, and that's what he needs to do. When you get ahead, stretch the lead.
Meanwhile, over on the Vodafone Arena, David Nalbandian has Tommy Robredo in a bit of a sleeper hold here. Nalbandian just so tough from the backcourt and able to win a competitive first set against the Spaniard in the near court here, who had beaten James Blake, played so brilliantly against Blake in a straight set win, but Nalbandian, a tough customer. Robredo not able to run that down despite the wheels. And in the second set, Robredo just totally goes away. It's a love set for Nalbandian.
I tell you, Nalbandian was hitting the angles to Robredo. He was pulling him outside the doubles alley, and he was getting so frustrated. Kind of like Blake the other night. He was trying to hit big, and he was playing right into Nalbandian's hands. He's in a stranglehold, heading out the exit.
Now, Bondia never really makes things all that easy, though. Brito got a break early in the third set and leads by 2 games to 1. Bondia can't win in straight sets. It's just not his M.O., Brad.
Yeah, you don't think he wants to just get it 3 and out and get out of here?
Of course not. We'll keep you posted there. If you are a fan of Baghdatis today, don't get too discouraged. He often takes a little vacation, goes away for a set. Doesn't mean he's out of the match. Back for set number 3 inside to Dick and Patrick.
All right, Chris, and Baghdatis has just held at 15 to open the third set. As his tireless core of supporters continue to crow here at Rod Laver Arena.
Well, Chris is right about that. And Baghdatis, when he played Stepanek in the second round, he won the first 2 sets, lost the third 6-3, and then took the bagel, lost 6-0 in the fourth, sort of used that set to regroup, come back to win at 7-5. So I think the early stages of this set are really crucial, because if Roddick can continue the momentum, I just think physically it's going to be difficult for Baghdatis to come back in the match. So I think these first few games of this set will be really telling. Baghdatis can hang around, he's got a chance.
Roddick trying to put a little extra on that forehand.
Love 15.
Gave them a chance to take a little break too. So now they're revved back up.
That big serve out wide.
The other thing that's underrated about Roddick's game and his serve, Dick, is he has the ability to serve big over the course of a long match. And that's from just having a great service motion, but also putting a lot of the work in, having very strong legs, the flexibility he has. We played a match in Belgium in the Davis Cup just in the fall, right after the U.S. Open. And Andy won it on play against Olivier Rokas. In the 5th set, he was feeling some minor cramps in the legs, but he was still able to serve just huge, and that's really what helped him win that match and clinch the tie for the U.S. Helped us get back into the world group for this year.
Third double fault, followed by a service winner, and 30 all.
31.
All of a sudden, Baghdatis has a chance to get out to the early lead in this third set. Quick break point.
Big point for Roddick, trying to deny. And he's long again on this first serve.
And as Brad pointed out after that last set, there was a chance there for Baghdatis to go up the line with the backhand. Had an opening, and instead he just sort of pushed it cross court, and Roddick crunched the forehand. Roddick was 6 unforced here in the third set, and his
been able to dig out of a couple of break points against his serve.
And batting Roddick.
Uses the slice for his 10th ace. Tough, but Roddick digs out a couple of jams and holds for 1-all here in the third. Hall of Famer Frank Sedgman, he won this title in 49 and 50, and he and Ken McGregor, a fabulous doubles pair in the 40s and 50s. They won many major championships, in fact singles and doubles. Sedgman with 22 major titles.
Wow.
That is Wimbledon tie on here at the Australian Open. Wonderfully crafted by Baghdatis. Good hustle by Roddick, but point totally in the command of the 20-year-old.
There's that backhand down the line, sets it up, plays the drop shot. Good position for him. Roddick does well to get to it, but easy look at the pass there. It's the time to play the drop shot when you're inside the baseline and your opponent is well behind the baseline. And you don't have to be perfect with it. It still can be an effective shot. Oh, that's a great angle. About 10 feet behind the baseline. This guy can create some angles. That was a big forehand there from Roddick. And that is just beautifully controlled on the dead run as a shot maker.
Winning return from Roddick. Squeeze that one just inside the line. 30-15. Well, he's just 20, Marcos Baghdatis, but he's shown in this match that he has total game. Now, he's not always consistent, but he has all the plays.
Great court awareness.
Roddick changing up with that slice backhand to 40-30. There it is, and he misses. He worked Roddick into the corner, had him where he planned, but couldn't deliver the backhand winner. Umpire Fergus Murphy, Ireland. That wasn't
the forehand that has delivered some big winners, was
No,
it?
he seems to hit that forehand even better when he's on the move. That one is just sort of hanging there. Got up on him a little bit.
Gives Roddick a chance to break. It's short-lived as Baghdatis clips the line with a serve and his 8th ace.
Roddick taking a look at the mark, but it looked like it was on the line from up here. See what shot spot says. Yep, right on. Ace number 8.
Roddick decided to be very aggressive early in that rally. It couldn't wear down Baghdatis. Point here to stay on serve in the 3rd set. A set all.
Even puts it between his legs on the 2nd serve, Dick. Every point.
Stylish. And the hold. Roddick had a break point, couldn't convert. 2-1 in the 3rd.
I always talk, Dick, about the court positioning of Roddick, and I think this graphic is our shot spot analysis. Tells us something. In the 1st set, you see Roddick mostly well behind the baseline, playing defense during the rallies, just once in a while inside. Look what happened in set number 2. Yes, he's behind the baseline a lot, but look how much more he's moved forward, and he's been able to attack, get into net a little bit, and I think this point here illustrates Roddick right on top of the baseline. Look at him, take that return early. He's got Baghdatis pushed back now. He's staying very close to the baseline, then the forehand. I mean, if you hit that same exact shot from about 3-4 feet behind the baseline, it's not effective. It's not as effective. And that shot wins you the point by doing the same amount with the ball. You don't have to hit it harder. Positioning, taking time away from your opponent.
Serving at 1-2, love 15.
That's the thing to me that gets Roddick in more trouble than anything else in his game. And right there, Roddick was right on the baseline and really working his opponent. And that's Agassi-like. Look, obviously no one has the ability to hit the ball as big as Agassi off both sides with the consistency. But if Roddick can do that more consistently in his game, Dick, I think he'll be able to wear opponents down a lot more, and he won't have to play as much defense.
Difficult to change lifetime habits, though, isn't it?
Very difficult. And the fact is that when Roddick was a kid, he didn't grow. He had a growth spurt about 16, and he didn't have a big serve. He was more of a counterpuncher. He was really a retriever. Very tough in the way he had to win points and scrap and claw.
Inside the baseline.
And again, what that does, Dick, for you is it allows you to hit angles like that. Yes, it was a miss hit from Roddick, but when you're closer to the baseline, it's much easier to open the court up.
Big kicker
14.
gets Roddick to 40-15. It's 2-all. And Luke Jensen joins us here at Rod Laver.
Thanks, Dick. One of the things Patrick's been talking about is Andy getting real physical on the tennis court, how the second serve isn't jumping. Well, once we close the roof, yes, it's cooler down here in the 80s, but also the humidity is up. It's around 60%. I know this because he's got this right here. I took the thermometer from the ESPN offices, okay? So I've got all the temperature readings down, thermometer, all this stuff. So if you need temperature, any of that stuff, I've got it right
What's the temperature, Luke? What is it?
Well, right now it's about 28, which is in like the mid-80s, which is very good to play in, but the humidity is about 60%. Fluffing up that ball.
Yeah, the point is, Dick, in the humidity, which it's a lot more humid with the roof closed, the ball sits up a little bit more. It doesn't zip through the air as much. There's just a little more moisture in the air. Beautiful stab volley there, by the way.
Turns and plays to his audience.
I believe that Baghdatis is starting to tire a little bit because you've seen him with a little lackadaisical with the footwork. Tried that drop shot in the last game out of nowhere.
That was an interesting rally as Roddick constructed the point using that slice backhand to set up the big forehand. They're indefatigable, aren't they?
They're not going to get tired. Their guy might. Excellent play there by Roddick. Baghdatis snuck in off a good approach. Some of that improved variety from the Roddick game with the slice backhand.
Crucial time in this round of 16 match. Set all, 2-all, 15-30. And donating a double fault to give Roddick a couple of break points. Well, Patrick, we must underline the fact that Roddick is working at a considerable handicap here. You have all this noise for Baghdatis, and because the roof is closed, the Bikini Brigade and the young Aussie ladies do like Roddick and cheer for him. They're not quite so prominent as they have been earlier. Hardly seems fair.
It's just not right.
Another break chance. That ball skidded off the baseline, and Baghdatis up to saving 2 break points.
A little defensive on the return there from Roddick and enabled Baghdatis to get in control of the point immediately.
This is the 9th for Baghdatis, just one less than Roddick.
Advantage Baghdatis.
Biggest serve of the day there for Baghdatis at 135.
Well played. He digs out of 15-40. It's 3-2 in the third.
Baghdatis leads 3 games to 2.
Those rocky formations in the ocean, the 12 Apostles, spectacular part of the drive along the coast southwest of Melbourne. And this normally a hot spot of activity, but it's just too hot the spot on this Sunday, and everyone's seeking shelter. Few people under the trees, shade and the breeze cutting into the 108 to 110 degree temperatures.
Thank you.
Now Roddick with a golden chance to take the lead in that last game, but Baghdatis saves from 15-40. Now Roddick 2-3.
Stab volley from Roddick, and just 2 matches being played now. This one and over on Vodafone. Libredo wins the third set 6-2, so Nalbandian up 2-1 now.
If they continue to win, Roddick and Nalbandian would meet in the semifinals.
It's large, very large. 11 aces.
Yeah, it's an interesting point that you made, Patrick, about Roddick having such excellent condition. He doesn't lose the speed off or the power off his serve. You know, fastball pitchers, sometimes you wait him out, get him to the 7th, 8th inning, and then it's just a little slower and you can beat him. But Roddick, steady.
Very steady. What good returners can do, and what we've seen Baghdatis do today is to start to read the serve a bit better, pick it up, and make inroads on the Roddick second serve. And again, with the roof closed, the ball's not jumping as much. And so that second serve of Roddick, that's affected more by the roof being closed than the first serve. The first serve is just basically the power. Baghdatis very much under control with his shots, just patiently waiting here till Roddick makes his move. And he just coolly hits the backhand cross court.
14-7.
Nothing cool about that. The fastest of the day, 141. Fans cheer again. In his English, Baghdatis in the press conference says about his fan group, they're pretty crowdy.
Yeah. They're real crowdy.
Yeah, that's a good word, crowdy. Well, a couple of those balls in mid-court, and Roddick having to play it on a half volley, and Baghdatis has the breaker. Possible swing point in the match again here in the third set at 2-3. And it's long, and Baghdatis takes the lead 4-2. One break of service in the opening set at 3-all. Roddick broken. And then Roddick owned that second set. A couple of breaks to take it in a gallop 6-1. But now each man with a chance to break, and finally it is Baghdatis for a 4-2 lead.
I think Roddick was perturbed at someone in Baghdatis's box there, because he said something right after he missed that first serve. I think someone maybe clapped after he missed the serve, and then he mouthed off to them after he lost that point to lose his serve.
Using the speed of Baghdatis, trying to hustle back to cover to Roddick's advantage as he played behind his opponent.
All set up by an excellent return from Roddick off the backhand, and that got him control of the point immediately. That's where Roddick hasn't done enough damage in this match, Dick, is if there's a weakness in Baghdatis' game, it's the second serve, and Roddick has just not attacked it enough.
And here's another chance. Baghdatis serving only 47% first serves. How deep he was, and he misses the return.
And if you look at the numbers, Baghdatis has won more points on his second serve than Roddick has. Roddick moving way back to try to hit the forehand.
Yeah, he has to be upset with himself.
55% for Baghdatis on his second serve points, 52 for Roddick.
That's stunning.
It's stunning when you consider how big Roddick's second serve is compared to Baghdatis's.
Now dictating with that big forehand on that point to 30-all.
Baghdatis just bending down there as if to stretch out. Maybe feeling a twinge or something in his legs.
He's been the man who's been on the run much more than his opponent.
Well, Roddick's, no question, Dick, has the edge in the fitness department. He's stronger, he's fitter, but he's got to make that a part of the match.
That was an excellent lunging return by Roddick of a good serve, and provoked the forehand error and a break point. Oh my. That's 3 times in the match that Baghdatis has come up with an ace on break point. Andy trying to get back on course here in the third. Deciding to come forward, and Baghdatis down the line with a winner.
Deciding to come forward, Dick, but not enough depth on the approach, not enough authority in the movement towards the net. And look at this, 38-28 in winners.
And up 15 on the differential, winners to errors, Baghdatis, and that explains the 1-set-all and his lead 4-2 here in the third. Point for 5-2.
Trouble a brewing in the land down under for the world's number 3, Andy Roddick. To the chorus of his supporters, Marcos Baghdatis, 5-2, leads in the third. Back to the final point of that last game.
Well, again, Baghdatis using the backhand down the line so effectively, but what's really shocking to me, Dick, is, you know, we showed you the winners to errors, but the winners from the baseline from the two players, Baghdatis has 28 total winners from the ground. "27 winners for Baghdatis, and look how many Andy Roddick has. He has 7. I mean, would you have believed that if I told you before the match that Baghdatis would be up 17-5 in forehand winners?
That's
and
incredible.
That has very little to do with power. It has to do with position.
Late call, and apparently
Late call, Andy.
a good call, and Fergus Murphy said it was late, but it was the correct call, as you can see. No room for error now for Roddick. Needs to hold and hope that he can convert one of those break points in the next game. He's had 2 break chances 2 service games ago by Baghdatis. Had another in the last. Unable to come up with a big shot. Baghdatis, for age 20, has certainly played with considerable composure on the tough points.
Hello.
They are organized, and they've had plenty to cheer. Their man has not disappointed. Roddick went out in the semifinals here a year ago. Remember, to Leighton Hewitt. That was the long bathroom break.
And that backhand flies long. So 5-3. Baghdatis serves for the 2-1 lead.
Roddick's up talking to his camp up there, Coach Goldfein. Baghdatis will serve now with the new balls to try to close out this set.
Again, for those of you joining us live here from Melbourne, Australia, the 2006 Australian Open.
The city of Melbourne has a huge Greek population, one of the biggest in the world outside of the country of Greece.
And they're here in full support of the Greek Cypriot, Marcos Baghdatis, the youngest left in the men's championship run at age 20.
And this national hero is 3 points away from a 2-1 lead against the number 2 seed.
Roddick trying to orchestrate something special here to deny Baghdatis the set. Surprising power on his own serve, Baghdatis.
Had Roddick on the defense the entire point. Boy, Baghdatis times the ball beautifully. Again, up the line. Roddick on the run. And he just flicks that ball well inside. Look at him stalking inside the baseline. And that's why he has so many more winners off the ground than Roddick.
Roddick trying to emotionally push himself. 30 all against a man who refuses to beat himself. That's for certain. Baghdatis has played so positively. 5 less unforced errors than Roddick.
And 15 more winners.
High marks. It's Roddick deep now, and Baghdatis comes forward.
Well-earned set point from Marcos Baghdatis.
The light of girlfriend Petra. His coach Guillaume Père.
Andy Roddick has to win 2 sets to advance to the quarterfinals. Pressure on the number 2 seed and Marcos Baghdatis. What a Sunday for the Cypriot.
We now return to ESPN2's exclusive coverage of the Australian Open. ESPN2, the Grand Slam Network.
Back live, 4:15 on a Sunday, and the Cypriots, the Greeks, the fans of Baghdatis making noise inside Rod Laver Arena. Their man, the big underdog, has a 2-set-to-1 lead. 4th round of the first fight for Andy Roddick, Brad, here at the Australian Open 2006. Baghdatis playing well. A lot more winners than Andy, as those guys have been talking about.
Well, you said sometimes the Cypriot goes away. He went away in the second set, but the third set, he went back to doing what he was in the first set. Few down the line, and then he played more aggressively on the big points. The thing that surprised me most about Roddick on the break points, how defensive he played. Right there, a poor forehand, a 15-40 at 2-all. And watch this point he plays here. Right after that, a second serve, does nothing with the return. Then he lets his opponent get in the big shot.
Baghdatis able to serve out that third set, even though he really struggled to get a first serve in, and he's not able to do enough with those second serve returns.
Playing awfully tentative, and his mantra down here is to be aggressive, play everything on his terms, and right now, this match is being played more on the younger guy, the Cypriot's terms.
You can see Baghdatis getting almost as many cheap points on this serve as Roddick is, and a lot more winners off the ground. Both guys 2 for 9 in break points. Baghdatis, by the way, 4-0. 5-set matches in his career, including the previous round. Roddick was having real trouble in his career, and 5-setters had lost 5 in a row until he turned it around at Wimbledon. Now he's won the last 3 of them.
It's time for Roddick to get aggressive. Take it to your opponent. When you get a cheap hold, you get ahead. He's going to be serving first here. Take some chances. Take some rips. Don't let your opponent get in the first cuts. Because if he does, he's going to be on his heels, and the Cypriots got that feeling that upset is in the making.
Yeah, and he, of course, has to win this set to force a 5th set. Now, Bandian trying to close out Robredo in 4 sets over on the Vodafone Arena. The 3rd set, the Spaniard near court able to break and control it, but Nalbandian trying to reassert control in the 4th set. Never really does anything easily. That's his style. He gets broken quite a bit for a top player, but breaks right back. And right now, Nalbandian in control, 4-1.
You said he just wanted extra court time. He doesn't want to win 3 and out. He wants 4 sets. He wants to give his fans the money's worth.
He loves to work and loves to sweat, but he appears destined for the quarterfinals against the winner of Santoro and Ferrer. Roddick able to hold in the first game of the 4th set. Let's go back to Dick and Patrick.
Thank you, Chris. And Roddick playing that game the way he started the match. Easy hold at love and served very well. And Baghdatis almost disinterested in his returns. But this vocal but small group of supporters keeps pushing him emotionally. And he's mentioned that it is like having the home court advantage. He constantly spurred by their enthusiasm.
Well, I think Baghdatis also is going to pace himself now. I think he is a bit more fatigued. I sensed that in the 3rd set. Roddick wasn't able to take advantage, was too defensive, not just on the big points, but really throughout the set. And Baghdatis is going to bide his time here. He's a very composed player, Dick. He's very much under control with his emotions today. He realizes that he's got to conserve energy, and it's going to be extremely tough to put him away.
So many surprising statistics, aces being one of them. 12 for each man, and there's a little pickup forehand winner.
I mean, what's surprising Roddick, I think, because his comments before this match is to see another remarkable forehand right off the bounce from Baghdatis. Was, you know, Roddick said, listen, this guy is very solid all around. He's the kind of player that doesn't beat himself, and we've seen that. Well, what I think has surprised Roddick more than anything is not only does he not beat himself, but he can create and he can hit winners like that. And those are easy winners there. It's not like he's doing anything out of his comfort zone to create those winners.
Plus 25 winners to errors for Baghdatis. So the young man in a pressure situation playing in the big court against the number 2 seed has shown a lot of moxie, and yeah, you have to be a bit surprised by his unrelenting way. He just has not given in at all to Roddick. And he matches Roddick's hold at love with one of his own to start the 4th. So what do you do, Coach? What do you do?
You know, Roddick's got to do what he said he was going to do, which is be aggressive, take his chances. Right now he's allowing Baghdatis to dictate the tempo of the match, and you know, he's got to say, hey, I got to not play with fear of losing and try to go out and win it, because if he just hopes that Baghdatis will melt down and lose it, I don't see that happening.
No indication at all thus far. And the unforced errors, 6 more committed by Roddick. We mentioned that Baghdatis, his biggest win in his young professional career, David Nalbandian at Basel last year when he worked his way all the way to the finals. But this certainly would be the very top of his list should he knock out in a major Andy Roddick. Just did clip it inside the line. Maybe the outside.
Yeah.
Shot spot on the line for Roddick, 30-15.
Hasn't had much luck on the net cords, Baghdatis. Everyone is kicked back on his side. And the slice ace gives him a 1-ace edge, 13-12. It's 2-1 on serve in the fourth. And a reminder tonight as we welcome you back live to Melbourne and the Rod Laver Arena tonight or tomorrow morning, 3:30 a.m. live, 12:30 a.m. on the West Coast. It'll be Maria Sharapova and Daniela Hantakova. Hantakova, who has played at times with a fragile nature but showed considerable resolve in dismissing Serena Williams. She's got a lot of game but has the reputation of beating herself, and not so thus far in this championship. Played very well. Roddick down 2-1. Love 15 here at 1-2. There's an opening at love 30.
Good scrambling there by Roddick. Got a chance here now at love 30.
2 hours, 10 minutes into this match. And we have a final from Vodafone, where David Nalbandian in 4 sets defeats Tommy Robredo 6-2 in the fourth. And again, when he truly needs a quick, easy point in a bit of trouble, Marcus Baghdatis is able to serve up an ace.
Yeah, the percentage is still under 50% for the match on the first serve at 46, but as you said, Dick, he's finding those aces when he really needs them.
And again, Baghdatis playing closer to the baseline than Roddick. Go from love 30 to 40-30.
You cannot play that defensively, Dick, when you're Roddick's size. You know, 6'2", 6'3". It's not his speed that's going to win him matches like this.
And the hold for Baghdatis. It's 2-all in the fourth. We're live from Rod Laver Arena, Melbourne Park. Fans, most of them here are just tennis fans, not a rooting interest, with the exception of these chaps. A tennis version of Cameron on the Duke campus, the way they're bouncing around in the blue and white of the Greek colors. Support of the Greek Cypriot Marcos Baghdatis, who is working on a stunning effort here on this Sunday afternoon. 2-1, 2-all in the fourth. Outplaying the number 2 seed, Andy Roddick.
20 years old, Baghdatis, a former junior champ here at the Australian Open, and really starting to come into his own. Last year, he just under 500, but had some good results at the challenger level. Reached a round of 16 here last year, losing to Federer. And he has Roddick in all sorts of trouble now.
Roddick forced to play that ball in the air, and the volley shot long. Love 30.
Baghdatis.
Love 14.
And the double fault. And Marcos Baghdatis leads 2-1 and now up a break in the fourth. Oh my, oh my. Well, it's what makes sport so attractive to all of us. One can never predict. Andy Roddick figured to be a solid favorite. Marcos Baghdatis, good young player, might take a set. That was the attitude. But look at the numbers that underline why this 20-year-old Cypriot is well in the lead now. Plus 26 differential. 17 more winners than the hard-hitting Andy Roddick. He's been the steadier player. Hasn't beaten himself, but Roddick now at times has been too generous. And in fact, this crowd in part saluting Baghdatis, but I'm certain a lot of these Aussies are trying to wake up Roddick. That's where Baghdatis is playing. 7 feet inside the baseline.
Yeah. And Roddick not making a move for a lot of these shots. Seems completely flat-footed. I think and just trying there just to move himself around. $35-10, Dick, in winners from the baseline for Baghdatis.
The shot of the match for Baghdatis, just to get to it, much less deliver a winner.
Finally, Roddick actually hits a forehand, and this is the reply he gets.
Too much there. 30-15. And Dean Goldfine and
30-15.
the Roddick camp. Let's go. Brother John.
Yep.
Yeah, wide-eyed, stunned look. How can this be happening?
14-15.
Roddick thought the serve was long. 40-15.
Shot spot says it hit the line.
Things aren't going well. It impacts your vision. Nothing wrong with that. Everyone saw ace. That's his 14th. He actually is out-aced Roddick by 1. 2 games from the quarterfinals. Let's go down to Luke.
Thanks, Dick. The biggest thing that I can feel, obviously, the pressure just leaning on Roddick right now. You can hear all the supporters just leaning and yelling and screaming. It comes down to Roddick now having to grind. You've got to just get into a grind fest, and you've got to get into a street fight with this kid.
And time may be running out, Luke. 2 more service games, and Baghdatis is in the final 8. What's amazing about Baghdatis, showing no nerves at all. He's just bouncing around, having a good time, and that's been his reputation. And maybe cramping a little bit. He's covered a lot more court during the match. He's been on the run and has produced in motion.
He's seeing the ball like a basketball. I mean, anything that he can hit, When you give him a target, he is just unloading on the forehand. Roddick trying to be aggressive, but that ball way too short. Look at Baghdatis, beautiful timing.
To let, no ace. Fans didn't hear umpire Murphy's call.
30-15.
So Roddick brings reality and ties Baghdatis and aces with 14. Another net cord that falls back on Baghdatis' side. It's 4-3. Baghdatis working toward the quarters. With the exception of that second set, it's been opportunistic, the effort of this young 20-year-old from Cyprus. One break in the opening set, another break in the third to take a 2-1 lead. Has a break here in the fourth. He was ranked in the world 153rd going into last season, finished at 56th. And will vault into the 40s or maybe even the 30s with his effort here in Australia. He needs only 8 more points to find himself in the quarterfinals. Meanwhile, Andy Roddick, one of the best in the world, what does he have left inside? Can he muster a men's rally?
15 all.
Or will Baghdatis let him back into this match?
I don't think Baghdatis is going to let him back into it, Dick. I think Roddick's going to have to hit his way back into it. I just don't see him cracking. He's hitting the ball too cleanly. Got too much room to hit his shots. The serve has been on when he's needed it. Another big one.
6 points from victory.
30-15.
There's a rhythm to his game and a confidence to his stride.
It's mindful of Chela as he dismissed Hewitt earlier in the week. Hewitt didn't seem to have any punch in his ground strokes, and Chela just flowed through the match.
That's what Roddick has to do, is hit that forehand and get Baghdatis on the run.
These are the times that test talent and character, and Baghdatis is answering well. A point now for a 5-3 lead.
Sneak serve volley there, but it didn't pay off for Baghdatis. Roddick jumped on the return. It's the first time he served and volleyed, certainly on the second serve today.
Roddick couldn't have placed that return any better, right on the shoelaces of Baghdatis. Deuce. There it is. Court open again as Baghdatis, that court position. You really trained our eyes in this one, Patrick. That has really been the difference, how much farther back Roddick is playing while Baghdatis creeps in and takes that court advantage.
Well, and Baghdatis just continues to cut the angles off, Dick. 38-10. I mean, that's just downright scary. Ground stroke winners.
And then he finishes off the game with an ace, his 16th. He leads in that department as well.
See, it sets a whole mindset to the match and to the player, Dick, when you know as Baghdatis that you're not really threatened in the baseline rallies, and that allows a guy like him to go up and hit 16 aces. He's not a big server. He's not known as a guy that hits that many aces, but he steps up to the line and he's not feeling any pressure against him.
Well, Roddick's down in the bottom of the well now. Serves with new balls.
And Baghdatis, because he's trying to save a little energy here, and with the new balls, he might just take a couple of cracks here and look to serve it out, keep the balls fresh and new for his serve.
That's a good point. He returned that ball as if he didn't want to hurt it.
15
I mean, he'll try to win the game, but he's not going to expend a lot of energy, I think, to do so. Yeah, he just took a big rip there. That one, when he gets the balls to serve, they'll be as good as new.
Baghdatis didn't agree with the call, and it was ruled out by the umpire, Murphy.
Oh, man, slap happy. That was just, let me just take a cut at it.
30-15.
Well, his mechanics on the forehand when he has a chance to rip.
Almost Federer-like, isn't he, with that racket speed and the timing?
Net.
Telecast of this event being carried on television in Cyprus. That's where his dad fell in love with the sport and decided that that's what his son could be, a champion in tennis. And this is a day to beat a champion. He's 4 points from the quarterfinals. Well, you know Andy Roddick well. He's your key player, your #1 player in the Davis Cup team, and there's so many things about him, his game, his attitude, his competitiveness that we admire, and yet you almost be shocked by what you've witnessed here today.
I'm surprised that Andy hasn't looked to be a little more aggressive, Dick, because he said he's been working on doing as he wants to do. I know his competitiveness is there. He's always going to give it all out there, but I've certainly been incredibly impressed with Baghdatis. I mean, he has really showed us how to construct points, how to move the ball around. He's handled the scene here. And Roddick, because I said earlier in this set, he's going to have to win this game. Baghdatis, I don't think is going to give it to him.
For 20 years of age, his composure, along with all of his many on-court assets, that big forehand especially, to be admired. He's on the doorstep of the biggest victory in his young tennis life. He serves for the final 8.
again, the court positioning. Again, winning the point for Baghdatis. I mean, that ball wasn't even that close to the sideline, but because he took it early, he's just got so many options to his game.
Triple championship point, match point here now for Baghdatis. Well, this is the big stunner thus far in this 2006 championship. No place to hide now for Roddick. And with one